This is the frequency.
Yeah, pretty good, and we're at some mad rush at the moment because we're only, a week and a bit away from launching, so we're just still trying to sort out all the website, but we're nearly there, so it feels like nearly the end of a long race. The reason why I've been creating the Frequency Project is that it's more of a conversation than a lecture. It's more of an investigation than a series of points that we want to put across. And I also feel there are a lot of sites and a lot of people who do that, who organize all of these thoughts and these ideas into the 7 great principles of enlightenment, and if you do all these things, then you'll be enlightened. And I think many of us have found that maybe that happens for a bit, but it's not really a permanent thing. So in a way, you can only discuss these issues if you agree at the beginning that you cannot describe them, in any definitive way. So, and again, for me, the Frequency Project is really more like a place that people go to visit rather than a course that they do. Probably the best way to explain it is that it is a reaction for me for what I see out there. In other words, there are a lot of spiritual sites already, and some of them are extremely good. I've listened to a lot of material and tapes and done courses and retreats and things like that. But I felt that there was a space, a big space, which wasn't being catered for. And so what the Frequency is doing, and what I'm trying to do, is to reach out to people who might not say that they're religious or spiritual or even looking for the meaning of life. They just want to perhaps find some calm in their life, or be able to explore some of these deeper issues in a humorous or entertaining way. So my main objective with the Frequency came about because I was talking to someone and I said, I think the people who go out on Friday night and take drugs and dance are doing exactly the same thing, looking for exactly the same thing as the people who meditate or go on a retreat or something. I think that you might argue the methods are different, you might argue one is better or more pure than another, but essentially to me they're the same thing. And so I started thinking, instead of a spiritual site where you hear heavenly angels and there's a very quiet voice telling you everything's all right, what would happen if you collided the real world, people's real reality, and the things they do, and folded that into spiritual ideas, and indeed the site does have something to say and some strong messages, but they're not things that I really want to express overtly. In other words, I don't really want to say, listen to this site and this will happen, or you will experience this, because the experience is designed to be different for everybody, and I think that these kind of experiences are very personal. So what someone gets from meditating might be very different from what someone else gets. But the main objective with the Frequency was to bring a new audience to this whole world and see if we can use comedy, conversation, and music to make the whole site very accessible and easy for people. One of the things that we do promise is that all you have to do is listen. You don't have to learn, you don't have to make notes, you just have to sit back and listen. And even if you fall asleep, it will still work. So it's really, as I said, it's an experience for me. Throughout my career has always been looking for things which are different. There are some writers who are quite happy to, say, come up with a cop show format that's really based on other TV show cop formats that are based on other TV show formats. And for me, I've always tried to stay away from the territory that everyone else is occupying. So, for instance, in 30 years of writing, I've never written a police drama, I've never written a medical drama, I've never written a legal drama. Those are the three main genres. So it's a very big decision to take, and it makes your life much harder. But to me, it's like this world we live in is all the colours, and most of the time we're just using red, white and black. So I've always looked for a fresh way, an unusual way to approach a subject. And it's the same with the Frequency Project, really. I'm trying to change the form of something. Most people are obsessed with content. You know, what is the content of this piece? What does it mean? But if you change the format of something, then you change its meaning. And that is my particular fascination of trying to find very fresh ways so that you can re-experience something and get something new from it. Well, normally the process of writing, let's say, a movie or a TV series is very architectural. It requires an enormous amount of planning. So before I'd write a TV series, I'd probably spend several months researching it, planning it, working out very much like architectural plans. So it would be very worked out before I even started writing it. With the Frequency Project, I felt this was dangerous because it was going to be a journey about enlightenment. And if I decided before we all went on that journey what it was, then it would defeat the purpose. So this project, I decided early on had to be completely improvised. And when we were recording on any given day, I wouldn't even go in and say, this is what we're going to do today. I would turn the microphones on, turn the camera on, and just start talking to people and see where we went. So it was a very different process and a fascinating one for me, you know, compared to what I normally do. In the past, especially in theatre, I have done quite a lot of improvised work. And again, I love that as a writer, you know, writer-director, because I'm not starting with a script. I'm not starting with too much of me. And with the Frequency, I didn't want it to be really my view, my vision, my everything. I wanted to just bring the most interesting people I could find together and then just start talking around this subject. Again, it's very difficult. You sit down with a list of questions. What is enlightenment? You know, do you think you're enlightened? How do you get there? Then I'm not sure that you necessarily get very good answers. But if you talk to people about how they feel, when, you know, what they're really into and what troubles them and things like that, then I think you get into that really interesting territory. So Frequency was a very different project for me, and I couldn't and didn't want to control